The 2024 NFL season is getting closer and closer by the day, and we're almost like 100 days away from opening night kickoff for the NFL season. And yes, I know this video is coming out later than it should have. It should have happened like a week ago, whatever. It's still getting out. The NFL schedule in 2024 was released about a week ago at the time I'm recording this. And we need to take a look at some of the best NFL games, the best matchups, revenge games, rematches, and whatever else in between this upcoming season. Straight off the bat, opening night is going to be a great opening night game for the NFL season. We have Chiefs and Ravens, a AFC Championship rematch between Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes. This time it will be played in Arrowhead, but a great opening night kickoff game. Let's stick with the playoff rematches in the 2024 regular season. We have 9 playoff rematches. In week 1, we already mentioned the Chiefs and the Ravens. We also have the Lions and the Rams. Matthew Stafford returning back to Detroit. And the Lions are trying to stay as one of the best teams in the NFC. In week 4, we have an Eagles and Buccaneers rematch. I don't think anyone really cares too much about that game. In week 7, we have a Super Bowl rematch between the San Francisco 49ers and the Kansas City Chiefs, but this will be played at Levi Stadium. Week 11, we have the annual Chiefs and Bills game. That's going to be a great game, of course. Week 12, we have the 49ers and the Packers. That should be a pretty good game. In week 17, we have the 49ers and the Lions, a rematch of the NFC Championship game. That should be a really good one. And we also have the Texans and the Ravens on Christmas Day. So those are all 9 of the playoff rematches we're going to get in the 2024 season. Let's move on and let's look at the revenge games we're going to be getting this season, because I love these revenge games. They always have high intensity, high energy to them. It's not a playoff game, but at times it can feel like a playoff game depending on the magnitude of the situation. Week 2, I don't know if he's going to be starting, but Russell Wilson returns to Denver as the Steelers starting quarterback, maybe? Justin Fields might be starting, who knows? Week 4, we have Aaron Jones, the former Green Bay Packer, and now Vikings running back. He's making his return and playing his former team. In week 5, we have Stephon Diggs, who was just traded this offseason to the Texans. The Texans take on the Bills in week 5. That's a Stephon Diggs revenge game. In week 7, we have Sean Payton, head coach Sean Payton, Thursday night primetime, is returning to New Orleans, taking on the Saints. That's going to be a very, very fun game, especially for me, Saints fan, so that's going to be a very fun, intense game. Weeks 7/18, Saquon Barkley, first season as an Eagle. He will be playing the Giants. And I'm sure he's going to get a very, very, how do I put this? Very nice welcome back to New York when he plays at MetLife. Definitely not going to be booed. Definitely no one's going to throw trash at him. They're all going to cheer for him and thank him for his time in New York. In week 10, this one's pretty good. We have Brian Burns taking on the Carolina Panthers in his revenge game. This one's hilarious. The Panthers could have traded Brian Burns instead of DJ Moore in that trade to get Bryce Young, but instead they're like, no, Brian Burns is a cornerstone of our franchise and we need to pay him soon. And then they end up not paying him and then trading him away, and then the Giants end up paying him. So now the Panthers lost out on Brian Burns, DJ Moore, and Caleb Williams, all because of that whole ordeal. Week 14, this is a good one. We have Kirk Cousins returning back to Minnesota to take on the Vikings in his first year as the Falcons quarterback. This is going to be a good game as well. I really don't know what the Vikings are going to be without Kirk Cousins, and I'm not sure what the Falcons are going to be, but I can say for sure the Falcons with Kirk Cousins are going to be a probably 9-10 win team. Then in week 17, we have Derek Carr, the Saints quarterback for the second year in a row, taking on his former team for the first time, the Las Vegas Raiders. This game is in the Superdome. Derek Carr will be at home. They have the dome field advantage. Hopefully they can take advantage of it. Some other revenge games I wanted to note: Patrick Queen, the former Raven, he's now a Steeler. He's going to play his former team as well. And Calvin Ridley, the former Jaguar, is now a Titan. He's going to be taking on his former team twice this season as well. Now, before we get into the best games week by week, let's look at some of these crazy, funny, wow stats. Right now, it would be cheaper to buy tickets to every Panthers home game than to buy the subscriptions for all the networks and all the broadcasting of the games. That's just nuts. I'm pretty sure actually the Panthers had games last season going for like $2. Two things here. One, the Panthers are just bad. Just bad in general. No one wants to go to the games. Their owner sucks. There's no bright future, at least right now. Maybe things can turn around, but right now, no one cares about the Panthers. Second thing, there's too many networks. Some people have to get YouTube TV. Then they have to get the NFL season tickets. Then you have to get ESPN Plus. Then Netflix now, because they're going to be streaming games on Christmas. Amazon Prime for Thursday night games. Peacock for some like Saturday night games. And there's a few others in there as well. It's just insane that the NFL has so many different networking and deals and all that are going to help them bring in money. But at the same time, the average NFL fan should not have to have subscriptions to 10 different things to watch their favorite team play football. It should be all in one space. Another crazy stat is that the Green Bay Packers have 4 straight primetime games from Week 13 to Week 16. Week 13, they take on the Dolphins on Thanksgiving night. Week 14, they take on the Lions on Thursday Night Football. Week 15, they play the Seahawks on Sunday Night Football. And Week 16, they host the Saints on Monday Night Football. So Thursday, Sunday, Monday. That's pretty nuts. The Saints only have 3 primetime games in general, so good for the Packers and Packer fans. This one might be the craziest one out of all of them. The Chiefs will play a game on every day of the week this season aside from Tuesday. They have a game on Sundays, obviously. They have Monday Night Football games. They have a game that they play on Wednesday. I'm pretty sure that's on Christmas. They have a Thursday Night Football game. They have a Black Friday game. And then they have a Saturday game to accommodate for them playing on Wednesday. I think that's only happened once, and that was like back in 1927. That was when the Yankees, the NFL team or something like that, played on every day of the week aside from one day. Another interesting stat here, we have the teams that will be traveling the most this season. That has the Chargers at the top, Dolphins, Seahawks, Patriots, and the 49ers will be traveling the most this season. As usual, there will be international games like there always is, but none of them really look very interesting aside from Week 1 when we have the Eagles and the Green Bay Packers in Brazil. But that could be pretty interesting though. The other games right now don't look like great games at all, and the poor Germany, the NFL is sending the Giants and the Panthers over there. Like, they get what, 1 game a year over there now? And you send the Giants and the Panthers, the 2 worst teams in the league? That's not a very good way to expand your audience to Germany, NFL. You probably want to send good teams there next time. Alright, and here's a list of every team's primetime games. No real surprises here. Maybe the Colts could have gotten 1 or 2 more, but outside of that, everything seems to be fair. I don't have an issue with really any of these teams having a lot of primetime games or not a lot in general. No surprises here. Alright, one last thing before we get into the week by week games. Some of the best wide receiver and cornerback matchups we're going to get this season. Week 2, we're going to have Marshawn Lattimore, if he's on the Saints, taking on CeeDee Lamb. Week 3, we have Jalen Ramsey taking on DK Metcalf. Week 3, we also have rookie on rookie action. We have Terrion Arnold taking on Marvin Harrison Jr. Week 4, we have Snead versus Tyreek Hill, L'Jarius Snead versus Tyreek Hill. A rematch of what we got in the playoffs, and Tyreek Hill got clamped. Week 5, we have Sauce Gardner versus Justin Jefferson. That's going to be a great matchup. Hopefully, J.J. McCarthy can get the ball to Justin Jefferson, but we'll have to see how the offense is looking by then. Week 11, we have Stephon Diggs taking on his brother Trayvon Diggs. Those guys aren't the best, but it is a pretty good, interesting matchup, brother on brother. We have another matchup on Week 11. We have Devontae Adams versus Jalen Ramsey. Week 13, we have Marshawn Lattimore versus Puka Nacua. Week 16, we have Puka Nacua versus Sauce Gardner. And Week 17, we have Patrick Surtain taking on Jamar Chase. Now, Pat Surtain has a whole bunch of really good matchups, but I don't want to fit all of them into here because there's just so many. He takes on Devontae Adams twice a year. That's a divisional thing. And I don't want to get into the rest, but Pat Surtain does have a lot of good matchups. Maybe him versus Olave should have been on here. Alright, finally, here are the best games that I have marked down for each week of the season. Week 1, Chiefs and Ravens. That was an easy one opening night. That's going to be a really good game. Week 2, Bengals and Chiefs. Joe Burrow versus Pat Mahomes. Always a good matchup. Always a good game. Week 3, we have the Ravens and the Cowboys. The Cowboys are a good regular season team. They always put up a lot of points. The Ravens. Reigning MVP Lamar Jackson. That's going to be a good game. Week 4, we have the Bills and the Ravens. Josh Allen versus Lamar Jackson. Never a bad idea to get those two against each other. Week 5, we have the Bills and Texans, CJ Stroud and Josh Allen. That's going to be a very, very fun game. Week 6, I have 2 games circled. We have the Lions and the Cowboys, also the Bills and the Jets. I think those are going to be 2 very fun games as well. Week 7, this was maybe the easiest one to pick out of the whole regular season. Super Bowl rematch. We got the Chiefs and the 49ers. Week 8, Cowboys and 49ers. I also have Bengals and Eagles as a good game going on in Week 8. Week 9, we have the New York Jets taking on the Texans. That's going to be a fun one as well. Aaron Rodgers versus CJ Stroud, if both of them are healthy and playing. That's going to be I think that's a Thursday night game too. That's going to be a fun one to watch. Week 10, we have the Texans taking on the Lions. Also, the Dolphins taking on the Rams. I think those are going to be 2 very good games. Week 11, Josh Allen versus Pat Mahomes. Can't go wrong with that. 2 of the best quarterbacks in the league right there. We'll also have the Battle of Texas. We have the Texans taking on the Dallas Cowboys. Week 12, Packers and 49ers, Eagles and Rams. I think those are 2 must-watch games in Week 12. Week 13, this is maybe the one I'm most excited for. We're the 49ers and the Bills. That was my Super Bowl prediction last season, and I'm excited to see what that game looks like. Week 14, we have the Bills and the Rams, also the Bengals and Cowboys, 2 very good games. Week 15, I have the Bills and Lions. Week 16, Chiefs, Texans, Jets versus the Rams, and 49ers versus the Dolphins. 3 games that week. I couldn't pick between all 3 of them, so I just put all of them on this list. Week 17, I have the Texans versus the Ravens. That's going to be a good game. A rematch of the AFC Divisional. And then we have Week 18, Jets versus the Dolphins. Week 18, they're all playing division opponents. It's all kind of the same. So that one seemed like the most fun with the playoff implications. So yeah, those are my go-to watch games of the NFL regular season. Let me know what you're most excited for in the 2024 season. Subscribe to my channel for more NFL content. Have a good one. Peace.